Well, first of all, I want to say what an incredible initiative I think this is for your company. And when Jackie emailed me, I was all in 100%. So kudos to everybody that wants a servant leadership based company at Chevron. So couldn't be anything better than that. And I'm in my office, obviously, at the University of Alabama. This is my 24th year, which is just unbelievable. And I have to give you just a little short story on Miss Wilkins. She came to us as a center fielder. She replaced a 4-time All-American, which is obviously pretty tough to do. But in the fall of her freshman year, she was sitting in my office just like we are right now. We were talking, and one of the things that I really wanted more out of her was a little bit more communication and talking and some leadership. And I said, Jackie, why aren't you doing that? And there was a pause, and she looked me right in the eyes and she said, Murph, I don't feel like I've earned the right to do that yet. And it just hit me hard that, you know, what an incredible statement for a freshman to say. So I'm hoping that she's doing great things for you guys. She did great things for us. And as she got older, she definitely became a really good leader for us. But I learned a lesson that day when she told me that. And ever since then, I really have never kind of asked a freshman that same question because, that was just a really good answer for her. I think the first thing about servant leadership, the easiest definition for me is instead of saying, what are you going to do for me? You turn that statement around, and every day to people in your surroundings, your company, wherever you might be, at home, and you say, what can I do for you? You know, one of the greatest examples in my mind of one of the best servant leaders in the history of the world was about an 86-pound female, Mother Teresa, who galvanized just millions of people, really. She never raised her voice. She never swore. She never had a gun. Basically, when she won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979, to her name, she had 3 outfits of the exact same color. She rotated them, a pair of sandals, and a tin bucket that she carried around when she helped people. Those were the possessions that she had when she won the Nobel Peace Prize. And then when she accepted it, she said, I am not worthy. I am accepting this for the poor. Just unbelievable lady. I wish I could have met her, but she always underspoke of her accomplishments. She underspoke of herself. I think that's one of the biggest traits of a leader that people are looking for. Are they humble? And you've probably been around people that are the exact opposite. They overspeak of their accomplishments. They overspeak about themselves. And nobody really wants to listen to that. It's a, you can look on Twitter nowadays, and I see so many hashtag humble brags. I mean, I can't even tell you how many I see on a day-to-day basis of kids, of athletes, of actors, politicians, whatever you name it. It's a humble brag from the very beginning of the first sentence or the first letter in the tweet, and it just kind of drives me crazy. But Mother Teresa, to me, is one of the all-time greatest servant leaders, and if I can get my team to be just a little bit like her, we're going to have a great year. One of the greatest things that I did as a young coach, I have a cousin who's an elementary teacher in a small town in Iowa. She went to this seminar called Capturing Kids' Hearts, and I guarantee you that some of you that are watching this have heard of this. But it's an educational leader named Flip Flippin, who's located in College Station, Texas. And they have these summer retreats, 3-day retreats for educators. And the premise of his entire idea is in order to capture a kid's mind, you first have to capture his or her heart. And it's called Capturing Kids' Hearts. Well, my cousin called and said, Patrick, I think you'd absolutely love this retreat. It's right up your alley. And so I did it. And I flew from Birmingham to Texas and rented a car, went out in the middle of nowhere, and was at this big retreat house for 3 days. And to this day, it was probably 18 to 19 years ago, to this day, I still use a lot of those things that I learned on in those 3 days about servant leadership. And I truly believe you have to capture someone's heart in order for them to change an opinion, change their mind, get somebody to lead in the right way. And, you know, one of the words that I kind of learned through that seminar was really the basis of our whole program. And I would say for years and years and years, if you can be as happy for a teammate's success as if you did it yourself, this team's going to rule the world. And I would say that over and over and over. Well, I was reading a business book over Christmas break. It was a sports business leadership book. And I've read so many business leadership books, and they go hand in hand in sports. I truly believe, if I ever get out of coaching, I'm going to come for a job at Chevron, because you guys sound like you have just great things going on there. But I was reading this book, and it was called Help the Helper. And it was a chapter in servant leadership. And the author, the start of the sentence said something about, if you can have vicarious joy in someone else's success. In other words, and he said this word, mudita, and it's M-U-D-I-T-A, having vicarious joy in someone else's success. And I immediately shot up in bed, and I was thinking, oh my God, there's a word for what I've been trying to get my team to feel like to do for the last 15 years. So I looked it up, Wikipedia, there it was right there, mudita, having vicarious joy in someone else's success. The coolest part of it, though, is there's not an English word that equates to it. It's Sanskrit, and it's part of Buddhism. And the only English words that kind of correspond with it are the opposites. And the two opposite words that come closest to opposite of mudita are envy and jealousy. And I always tell my team, if somebody hits a home run and you're running around the bases and you're about to step on home plate, somebody was late for the game, okay? A fan. When they enter the stadium and they hear the noise and they can tell that somebody hit a home run, they should not know, based on everybody else's face at home plate when they're celebrating, who hit that home run. It comes back to mudita. I want everybody in that circle, that scrum, that celebration, to be just as happy for the kid that hit it as if it was themselves. So when that fan walks into the stadium and they rush down to their seat, they should have to ask everybody around them who hit the home run, because they all look happy. And imagine this in a business. And I tell my team this all the time. I said, let's just pretend that there's two people that are up for a promotion. And person A gets it. Person B, disappointed, jealous, probably upset. I mean, you could use any adjective you want there. But turn around and think if that person B had mudita, if that company setting really kind of developed that feeling in their employees. Just think for a second. So if person A gets that promotion and person B truly is happy for that person, just never shows any sign of jealousy, envy, whatever it might be, they're pissed off at the world. That person that treats the person that gets the promotion with respect, with happiness, with joy, everybody in that company is going to go around and say, can you believe his reaction? He's been waiting for that promotion for 10 years and they gave it to somebody else, but my gosh, what an incredible human being he is. Look at you can't even tell that he's jealous at all. So, we've had girls on our team, and it just so happened that when they moved in as freshmen, they played the same position. And they were roommates for 4 years. And other people and coaches at Alabama, whatever it might be, have always said, how in the heck did those two who were competing for the same position for 4 years, how did they stay friends for that long? And it comes back to being a servant leader and using the concept of mudita within the team. And whenever anybody asks us, how are you consistently good year after year after year? And we played in the NCAA tournament 21 straight times. We're the only team in Division I softball that have played in every single super regional round, which is the round before the World Series. And I always tell them, because everybody's in it for the right reason, and they're in it for mudita. And when you watch us play, you'll get that feeling, hopefully. I'd love to tell you a story about a kid named Peyton Grantham. She was an infielder from Daphne, Alabama. And the amount of growth that I saw from her she ended up playing 5 years because she tore her ACL and had to redshirt. But the amount of growth that she exhibited in a 5-year period was unbelievable. And I want to tell you that the type of servant leader that she grew into. It's right after her 4th year, and we have one-on-one meetings between myself and the players. And Peyton comes into this office right here, and she's sitting where my cameraman is sitting right now. And I say, what do you have? And she said, I just have one question. And I said, sure, what is it? She said, is Rachel Bobo going to get any sort of scholarship this year? Because if not, I want her to have some of mine. Well, Rachel Bobo was a walk-on on our team, and a walk-on in athletics means they get nothing in terms of scholarship. They're on the team, yes, but no books, no tuition, no room, no board, nothing. So for 3 years, she paid her own way. Her parents did. And Peyton comes in, sits down and says, she can have some of my scholarship her last year. I absolutely couldn't believe it. I was floored. And I almost started crying because nobody had ever done that. And to me, that was just the biggest example of a kid being a servant leader, because I know that she probably didn't have a lot to give. Her mom and dad were divorced. I don't think either one of them had a lot of money, but for her to give up some of her scholarship for a teammate just truly said a lot about her. And it reinforced to me that we were doing the right things. And I think, when you try to do this at a company-wide level, it needs to go a little bit at a time. I don't think you can write a memo to every person in Chevron and say, hey, we're going to be servant leaders. And it starts at the top, and then it kind of eases its way down to all the levels, but it needs to be completely immersed in each level as it goes down. And I think you'd see an incredible difference in your company. And then the second story is a young lady named Jordan Patterson. And it was also after her junior year. And she came in and the first thing she said was, Murph, I don't care how much I play. The only thing I'm worried about is I want to win. I want to do what we need to do. If I need to be the heavy, if I need to tell people what to do, where to go, how to do it, I'll do that. If I need to be the person that high fives everybody coming off the field, I'm going to do that. I'll be the best high five person in college softball. And again, not many kids come in and say that right off the bat in their meeting. But Jordan Patterson was definitely different. Peyton Grantham was definitely different. Well, flash forward to Jordan Patterson's end of her senior year. We're on the bus. We just clinched the SEC championship. And I said, I want everybody to realize that Jordan Patterson's ring is the same size as our starting pitcher. A ring is a ring is a ring. Nobody's ring is any bigger or better than everybody else on the team. And the 3 things that I really paid attention to is everybody wants to be wanted, needed, but most of all, feel appreciated. They want to feel appreciated. 70% of Americans in their jobs don't like their jobs because they don't feel appreciated. So if I could tell one thing to the people in the crowd right now, make sure that you appreciate your employees. Because you should have seen Jordan Patterson's face on the bus that day. Because I said, Jordan, your ring is the same size as Jackie's. And Jackie was our starting pitcher. We needed you, we wanted you, but most of all, we appreciated what you brought to the team this year, because if it wasn't for a Jordan Patterson, we never would have won any type of ring. You know, it's the people around the stars that make the team go. And I just really appreciate this opportunity. Next time, I would love to do this in person. I hope you got a little bit out of it. Jackie, again, I'm so dang proud of you. And hopefully somebody out there at this meeting is an Alabama fan. So roll Tide.